If you are looking for a super simple everyday makeup routine, you're in the right place. Let's get into it. By the way, I'm KJ Miller. I'm a founder, lecturer, and content creator. I love talking about all things business, beauty, and pop culture. So if you're into that, be sure to subscribe. Now, let's get into the makeup. Recently, I did a video over on TikTok where I was talking about Billie Eilish, but I was doing my makeup, and I got a lot of comments of people saying, wow, I love your makeup. This is so great. And I realized, yeah, I don't do a lot of makeup on social media, which is a little bit weird given that I founded and currently run a makeup company. So that stops now. I'm thinking I'll start a little bit of a tutorial series at least once a month, maybe more frequently, where I share with you my best makeup tips. And today we're going to start with what will probably be the most important tutorial, your simple, everyday, super quick beauty routine. This is the routine that you don't have to think about, that you don't need 30 minutes for. If you've got 5 to 10 minutes, this is the routine that's going to work for you. Now, the first step is skin prep. Lately, it's become very common, at least over on TikTok, for people to have 4, 5, 6 different steps of skin prep. If you've got the time for that, I love that for you. I do not. And so my skin prep really is just moisturizing. Now, my husband recently bought me this very expensive moisturizer and it is amazing, but whatever moisturizer you like will work. I'm going to use it and I am going to mix it with my CeraVe sunscreen, skin health. But when I tell you this is the only step in terms of skin prep that you cannot step. If you've ever tried to put makeup on dry skin, it looks crusty and dusty. Don't do it. But do you need to do all the other steps, the dew drops, the glow, the, serums, the eye creams? No, you do not. That's just me being very honest with you. You're welcome to do it. And in some cases, it might help your makeup look better. But in a lot of cases, in my experience, it's not going to make any difference to how the makeup looks or sits on your skin. The only one that's really going to matter is, did you moisturize? Whew. I already feel like my face and skin look so much better just from throwing on some moisturizer, okay? Like I said, that's the only skin prep step that I personally think you have to do. All the other steps, if you love them, God bless it. Okay, step number 2 is foundation. Now, I am using the Skin by Mented foundation stick. I personally love a foundation stick. It allows you to have more control over the placement. Also, it's a cream formula, and I think cream formulas are very forgiving, particularly on more mature skin. Just something to think about, but you don't have to use this, obviously, although, yes, Mented makes beautiful foundation. Whatever you've got, this is step 2. When I am applying, I kind of like to do more to the perimeter of my face. I'm eventually going to blend it in. You'll see sort of everywhere, but I don't directly apply it under my eyes or directly in the center of my forehead because that's where I'm going to be putting concealer. So I don't need the product to be placed directly there. All right, now I'm going in with, this is the Mented foundation brush. You just want a brush that's dense enough to really move the product around. If you're using a brush that's too fluffy, it's just gonna be sloshing everywhere. So this one is nice and dense. That's what you're gonna go for. And in terms of strokes, you can do this guy here, the short kind of downward motion. A lot of people like that, or circles work well as well. And as you can see, I am bringing the product up and to the under part of my eye. I just didn't place it there because that's where I need the least amount of product because I'm putting another product over top of it. Okay, do you see how now my face is looking like one nice, even skin tone? That's the purpose of foundation. I mean, really, the name gives it away, to give you a really solid, smooth foundation for the rest of your makeup, making everything look, just well put together, cohesive. Now, before I move on to the next step, which is concealer, I will just say I skipped primer. That's another part of the skin prep step that a lot of people love. Mented does make a really beautiful mattifying and blurring primer. I tend to use it when I know I need my makeup to last literally from the time I wake up to like late into the evening because it's going to help with that. But it isn't a step that I personally do every single day. Like I said, for me, when it comes to every day, I just got to moisturize. Now let's move on to concealer. Now, this is Minted's full-time brightening concealer. You don't have to use Minted's product. What I like about this, one, I love this extra large doe foot. Great, because I like a lot of concealer. Two, it's got a lot of hydrating properties, which when you're talking about the area under your eye, honey, you want it to be hydrated, okay? Now, what I like to do, I'm still a big fan of forming a little bit of that triangle. A big thing the girls are doing now is just putting a little bit here and a little bit here. I have tried that technique. I don't like it. For my face shape, I think it doesn't give me the pulled forward look that I think concealer is aiming for. The reason you highlight these areas on your face is because you're trying to center that part of your face. You want the center of your face to really glow and be pulled forward, right? And attract the light. For me, this is the shape that does that the best. I don't get down with the boop, boop, just a little bit of, but you're welcome to do that if that's what works for you. I'm going to show you what works for me. So I like I said, to do a little bit of a triangle, and I do like to come down the bridge of my nose. This is kind of giving my nose like almost like a little bit of a slimming effect, which, you know, I like. Nothing wrong with the size of my nose. Sometimes I just like for it to look a little bit slimmer. And then I am going to put a little bit in the center of my forehead. I'm sorry, I know the ring light is making that hard to see. And then I do like to come down a little bit down the bridge of my nose. Other places some people will put concealer is they might do a little bit on their chin. I usually skip that. They might come under here. Sorry, let me move my hair. They might come under here to try and accentuate the cheekbone, so they might put a little bit almost under. I don't do that. I just do under my eyes, a little bit here, and right down the bridge of my nose. I'm going to use a beauty sponge to blend this out. It is really important that you wet your sponge first, so let me go do that, and you'll see how much bigger it gets. Okay, we're back. As you can see, my sponge is much bigger now. I will say very important is to wring out your sponge, like really get all the excess water out, because what you want is the softness, not the wetness. The wetness is not really helping, okay? It's the softness that's helping when you go to blend. So you're gonna take that and really just start to bounce it in to your skin in order to blend out this concealer. Now, if you don't have access to a water supply, maybe you're on the road, you're on a train, I've done my makeup on the train many times, what have you, and you can't get your sponge wet, can you do this with a dry sponge? You can, and I have. If you're in a pinch, yes, you can do that. However, is it going to be much better? Is it going to blend much easier if it's damp and therefore nice and soft? Yes. Now, once you've got that blended, you're going to want to, this little trick a makeup artist taught me, zoom in with your mirror and really check to see if you are all the way blended or if you have any harsh lines anywhere. Like right now, I can tell right here, I've got a little bit of a harsh line, but I needed to zoom in to see that, okay? You're just going to keep bouncing the sponge until it's nice and blended. Okay, much better. Much better. Now, once you're done with all of your cream products or liquid products, it's time to set with a powder. Look how this is like almost completely empty, but I'm really trying to squeeze out every last drop of this powder. Now, if this were not my everyday routine, like this was something I was doing for a nighttime function or I don't know, or a red carpet function, I might go in with my lighter shade and bake first, right? So do the thing where you dip it in and you apply it and you let it sit and then you brush it off and it's a whole thing. Okay, but this is my everyday makeup. Do you think I am baking every single day? Be serious. Absolutely not. I take my product, I take a nice stippling brush. That's a brush that is going to be a bit looser, not as dense. And first I start by just dusting that on under my eyes and in the places where I've put the concealer. I'm just dusting, kind of like almost patting it in. I like to start with that area. Okay. And then for the rest of my face, same thing, but I'm willing to be a bit faster and looser. kind of dust, like kind of dust, pat it on, swivel it off. Again, this is my everyday, so I'm not being as precise. I'm picking it up, placing it down, brushing it off, right? Very quick. This is a very quick step. And I tend to just use the one shade. This is Mented's Medium Deep Setting Powder. Beautiful formula. You don't have to use Mented, whatever setting powder you like. But for every day, I recommend don't bother with the placing it exactly in the right place. Who has time? Get yourself a nice stippling brush. This is Mented's loose powder brush, and dip it in, dust it off, place it, and swirl it. Okay? Easy peasy. It is going to set your makeup, and also you're not going to be here all day. Now, the next step for me, and this is optional depending on what your brows look like, but for me is to go back in and fill my brows. Now, my brows are like shaded. I have an eyebrow tattoo, so I always have the shape, but I find no matter how precise I try to be about my foundation placement and using my sponge, the color fades underneath the products I've put on. So you can do this step at the very end, you can do it later, but I tend to have to do it after I've done my base layer because I notice like my brows, they disappear a bit. So for me, this is simply just shading back in the brow I already have, the shape I already have. I'm not trying to create a new shape. I'm not trying to make it pointier or curvy. I'm not trying to do all that. I'm just trying to add a little bit of the color back. If you're curious, this is our highbrow pencil in the shade Brow Down, which is our deep brown. Okay, so you can see if you look at this brow versus this brow, it's just got a little bit more depth in terms of the color. That's all we're going for. And if you're someone who has very sparse brows, I would look through the Mented Cosmetics brow tutorials. Go to the site and find some tutorials on brows. At least a third of them are me because I have no brows before I got these tattoos. So I would literally create a whole shape from nothing with these precision. Look how precise that little point is. Precision brow pencils. So if that's you, I've done those tutorials too. I can't do them now because I've got the brow tattoo, but I've done it. I will try to find one and link it in the description of this video. Okay, so now that the base is done, all we have left is cheeks, eyes, and lips. And for me, these 3 steps move quickly. And honestly, all of this, I know I'm really taking my time to show you guys, but I do all of this in 5 to 10 minutes. Okay, so step 1 is bronzer. I am still a powder bronzer girly. I know cream bronzers have become very popular. So if you like a cream bronzer, you're probably going to want to do that before you set, right? Like you want to set and do your powders after you've done all your creams and liquids. But I still like a powder bronzer. So this is Yacht Life by Mented. You're going to take a nice kind of fluffier brush. Pick up your product. As you can see, I use this a lot. And in terms of placement, you're really going for this part of your cheek, almost from the top of your ear, the band that's created there. That's really what you're going for, okay? You see that? You see that? Ooh, so pretty. What you're trying to do is kind of just add some color back. You more than likely lost a little bit of color when you put your concealer on. Now we're bringing it back, kind of bringing that warmth back to the face and a little bit of shape back to the face. And I bring that all the way up into my temples. We're really kind of creating a perimeter here. You see that? You see that? You see that? And I mean, can you have too much bronzer? That was rhetorical. No, you cannot. Okay. And then I am going to bring it into the top of my forehead. I love that. And then we're just going to swirl that out. Bring it down, bring it down, bring it down. So pretty. So pretty. I'm tempted to just go ahead and throw this bronzer on my eyes because for me, if we're talking every day, I'm either throwing bronzer on my eyes or I'm throwing an eyeshadow stick on my eye. But I'll show you the eyeshadow stick just so you're seeing, a bit more variation. But first, blush. Now, this is my absolute favorite shade. This is Clay Too Much by Mented. It's a nice, you know, brick red brown. In terms of placement, I go for kind of apple of the cheeks and I bring it up a little. So I'm layering it a little bit onto where that bronzer was. But unlike the bronzer, I'm not then bringing it all the way back and up and over. I'm not doing all that with blush. Some people do. I'm not. I'm focusing more here, okay? Just kind of in this apple and a little bit up. You see that? Now for eyes, because this is every day, like I said, I'm just wearing one shade. I'm not mixing, I'm not blending. I'm not doing something here, smoking here, okay? One shade. This is Better Off Bronze, Mented's Color Intense Eyeshadow Stick. I personally love eyeshadow sticks because they're so easy to use. And if it's a good shade, a multi-dimensional shade like this one is, you don't need anything else. So I just throw it right on, just like this. I bring it up a little bit over my crease. You see? I just think this shade is so pretty, and I just think it takes no work. And then I usually will grab a brush to soften those edges. A lot of women will do this with their fingers. I don't like getting my fingers dirty. And also when you have nails, I feel like it's hard to kind of get in that inner corner. So I will use a brush, but if you prefer using your fingers, that works too. This is really just to soften out the edges, kind of blend it up a bit. Oh, I love it. Okay, we've reached the final step. I did throw on a little mascara, though I'm sure you can barely tell because I have no lashes. I'm sorry for the sound. My grass is being cut, and I'm not going to be able to get rid of it. It's going to take like an hour before they're done. So bear with me. It's the final step, and that is lip gloss. For me, when it comes to everyday, it's got to be gloss. This is the shade Mauve Over. It's one of my absolute favorites. I think that's so pretty. And for me, like I said, this routine takes me 5 to 10 minutes. Sometimes it takes a little bit longer if I'm trying to be super precise. Sometimes I can do it in 3 if I'm just like, bop, 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 I got to get out the door. But this is my everyday routine. I don't even have to think about it. It's not that many products. I think it looks really nice, really sophisticated. I can wear it anywhere, whatever the meeting is, whether it's a call, whether I'm on campus teaching, whatever it is. I feel like this look serves me so well and is so simple. I hope you enjoyed it. If you want to see more tutorials, let me know because I am planning on making it a bit of a thing. And let me know what you want to see in the tutorials. Do you want to learn how to contour? Do you want to learn how to do a smoky eye? Do you want to learn how to, decide when to use setting powder versus setting spray or both? Whatever you want to know, let me know. I'd be happy to include it. I hope this was helpful and be sure to subscribe. I'll see you next time.